Running. Oh, that's a big bug. Last part we arrived on Havas Cool to see what we could learn about the Herc, and I'm really regretting that immensely. This mutated Herc is incredibly strong, and our weapons do nothing. We charge down the corridor being pursued by the behemoth until Kira chimes in, presumably unaware of our plight.
There's a deep crevice ahead of you. See if you can get across.
Spotting the gap ahead, we've got no time to look before we leap, and we chance our way to safety. It seems that the creature won't follow us across this gap, so for now we're safe from it. Interesting, those crystal growths glowed when it shrieked, so clearly they do have something to do with the amplification of its effects. So of course we take a couple of pot shots anyway, and on a side note, physical weapons like throwing knives and melee weapons do hit, but the damage is rather low. Examining the floor below reveals a long drop and pools of toxic gas, not something we can survive. I did fall in several times trying to cross this chasm.
Hazardous energy and anti-gravity ahead. Use your thrusters.
Yoy! Oh god, that's disorientating. I'm floating all of a sudden. We take one last look at our pursuer as it rampages away, unwilling to follow us, as we drift off down this hall, looking for a way to continue.
Creatures turn back. Must not like anti-gravity.
Clearly this was crafted by a sentient civilization. From our limited data on the Herc, they were once just that, before the Dominion came, so this ruin is around 2,000 years old, and holding up very well. I guess if the Herc were a species prone to extended hibernation, then they would build their structures to last. It takes me a minute to work out where I'm supposed to go before I remember no gravity and look down. This looks like it was once maybe a lift shaft, or perhaps the Herc were just able to climb this sort of thing by themselves anyway. Either way, we're going down.
Slow and steady, don't get lost. Try to head up when you can.
Garak and I have a breathable atmosphere here. Everyone, try and reach our location.
Williams here. I'm stuck in some kind of tunnel maze. Not sure how to get out.
Ishimura here. My nav system's useless. I'll keep trying to find you all.
Sounds like me, Ishimura and Williams are all in the same boat, sensors inoperable and caught in some stone corridors. Although they didn't mention the anti-gravity. One passage we find is blocked by a rock slide, although with the anti-gravity, it's not exactly fully blocking our passage. Still, I don't want to squeeze under it just in case, so we go around. And I'm glad we did, because in a side passage I find an operable Herc console.
Receiving your transmission from the console. Analyzing now. There's a lot of historical data and cultural references in there. The short version, the Herc used to be a peaceful species. There's talk of a great betrayal and some kind of epidemic. Then the entries just turn into gibberish.
So, we have further evidence that the Herc began one way and then something changed them. Probably Dominion involvement. It's not long before we find a second console and access that one too.
This one looks like technical data. Interesting. None of their starships had weapons until 2,000 years ago. Their first designs were way ahead of most species at that time, though. How did they go from geniuses to the ravenous eating machines we're dealing with now?
Was that scream your end or my end?
Kane, report. I just lost crewman Kane's vitals. Weir's comm signal is down, but he's still alive. Keep an eye out.
I will continue searching every room until I find them. Oh look, another console. However, instead of displaying data logs, this one causes a distant rumbling. I have a suspicion that that's opened a door somewhere, so we navigate outside just in time to see it slide shut. Looks like it's going to be a timed race to get to the door then. There we go, easy does it, and we're through. Okay, where to go, where to go? Now we're heading up, it seems. And not by choice. Ow. And further upwards, it seems. The corridor we emerge into has a single eerie green light at the far end on a closed door, and another console nearby. I think the same as last time is in order. However, here is a nasty surprise, as the console immediately on the other side of the door is malfunctioning and regularly releases pulses of electricity that damage us. That inconvenience out of the way, we continue drifting through the corridors, following the only route we can. I hate that our jetpacks sound like Herc screeches.
Bashir and Garak are just past this chamber.
Oh, gravity just reasserted itself. That's good to know. And here it's gone. Okay, I found the threshold. As relieved as I am to be weighty once again, the presence of this cavernous hole makes me uneasy. It's suspiciously big enough for a mutated Herc. And we're in a gravity environment again. So, best not to linger, let's just find the exit and get out.
We're picking up some interesting tech on sensors. Interesting and old. Very old. Most of it predates the Federation by several centuries. Are you reading those energy patterns on the other side of that opening?
Nope.
They're far more intricate than the others we've seen. We think there's some kind of ship ahead of you. It shows signs of damage. You might be in some sort of dry dock or repair facility. Interesting. There are large gaps in tech level between each section of the facility. It's as if the Herc learn as they hibernate. They wake up with 1,000 years of advancements at hand and get ready to work.
So they learn while they nap. I think there's books about that sort of thing. They don't work. They just kept me awake. Walking on through, I spot some flares, signs that someone else has been this way at least, as well as the hull of a green craft. Entry hatch facing us. If this is a dock of some form, the natural cavern it's in makes it hard to tell. Perhaps there's been a cave-in at some point? Interesting, this iconography is more intricate than the previous designs, but similar. The hallways are mirrored too, flipped, the same above as below, and it reminds me of a Tholian vessel, which is another multi-limbed mineral species that utilises a strong connection to crystals and sound. I wonder what kind of purpose this vessel served. Can't really see anything that gives away its function. Still has power though, it seems, even if it is probably emergency lighting. This all changes when we round the corner and find an unusual sight, as well as a welcome one. A figure stands waving at us on the other side of an energy shield, a flare deployed to welcome us in. Looks like we found our crew. In this case, it is Bizarre who briefs me that they've decided to hold up here, where there is air and environmental shields, as well as this large Ripley ball thing. He doesn't know what it is. So we move to meet with Bashir and Garak, who are busying themselves with the technology present here. I wonder if they're responsible for the M-Class environment. Certainly the Herc don't need it.
A pleasure to see you. We'll need all the help we can get if we're to leave this world alive. To that end, the good doctor and I have started to make sense of our surroundings. We seem to be in some sort of Herc command center. From here, we can begin to restore power in critical systems.
Excellent. So this is the bridge, or sort of. So these orbs must be the interfaces. How are you figuring all this out?
Herc technology is driven by electromagnetic manipulation of morphogenic crystals. Doors, life support, everything, even their central computer. If we can find the right crystals, I can bring things back online. We can look for information on Herc biology within their data system. We might even find a cure here.
What for the crazy?
I found a little information. This planet used to be rich in a type of fungus. It thrived in the harshest of environments, even areas high in pulsar radiation. It used to be a staple of the Herc diet until it disappeared from the ecosystem. Without it, the Herc began to suffer from a severe type of malnutrition. It led to a number of neurological disorders, many of which we've seen firsthand. Based on these readings, there should be more data storage units in the tunnels beyond this chamber. They're the ones by the door with the blue glow rods. One more thing. Some parts of the tunnels still have malfunctioning gravity systems. You should be able to navigate through them, but the energy fields in there will nullify your weapons, so be careful.
So while Bazaar remains here to guard, I'm to head out to find these consoles and learn what I can from them, sending the data back here and to Kira in orbit. Hopefully I'll also locate the other members of my crew. Bashir was saying that the loss of this staple of the Herc's diet deprived them of something that they needed, which in turn drove them insane with time. And this might be why they consume so much around them, animal, vegetable, or mineral. They've got an insatiable hunger caused by a chemical deficiency. Up ahead, we see another waving figure. Looks like we found another member of the crew. In this case, it appears to be Pevro and Ishimura.
Oh, good. You made it. We were about to leave when... No! No!
What's going on? Ishimura's vitals just flatlined.
The big Herc came back in. Oh god, it's right behind me. Now, I do run around a bit here and panic before finding a console and hitting a switch while Pevro distracts it. Or at least, he tries to. He doesn't do a very good job.
That covers the first peaceful meeting between the Herc and the Founders over 3,000 years ago.
Cool, yep, peruse it later, Doctor, still busy. Eventually it moves away, after I ran around for a while. Okay, at one point it did get me and I respawned. With it gone though, I was more free to explore. Do find a console here that seems to activate a lot of weird anti-gravity effects, which will come in useful later. I will take this time to mention that dying at any point seems to scramble where the survivors are, so I ended up encountering Bazaar again because when I respawned he seems to have swapped places with a different officer. You also discover that entering the green stream of energy pouring from the ceiling acts as an anti-grav lift, taking us up into what appears to be ventilation shafts? No, they're too big. I think these are just extensions of corridors that the Herc must have used. Rather than explore it just now, I make my way back to the main corridors below to find a bad omen.
That's Kane's helmet. I have a feeling we won't find the rest of him.
Oh yeah, no, not in this atmosphere, he's dead. Soon though we find another one of the glowy pillars, this one purple, but beneath this is another one of our crewmen and Williams.
You're a sight for sore eyes. Let's get out of here before...
William!
As before, the Herc hunted shrouds right behind us too and attempts the same thing, but learning from our past encounter, we dive into the gravity lift. Unfortunately, I'm rather rattled and follow my sprinting officer down the corridor, running back to the only grav lift I know works for sure, the green one. I stop to see if I am being chased, and indeed the mutated Herc deshrouds and attempts to strike. Okay, not stopping then. Charging down the corridor, we decide to split up. I can't tell if it's chasing me or him, but I don't want to risk it, so we keep going.
It moved away from you and shrouded itself.
Okay, good. It seems it really doesn't like anti-gravity. Well, now we're up here, let's explore. Eventually, through the upper tunnels I can find a blocked passage, beyond which I can see the immobile form of a Starfleet officer. I can't tell who from here, but I should make an effort to find out. Descend back into the corridors, well aware that the Herc might still be lurking nearby. After a cautious wending of our way through the corridors, we make our way back to the purple grav lift, and am both relieved and slightly embarrassed to find out that this one works too. I'm trying to find my way to the fallen officer, and if I've mapped this out correctly, the next left should bring me to the same passageway. Oh! Hello, looks like we found your nest? Den? Lair. It's a lair. It seems to be completely ignoring us for now. Well, as long as it's here, I know that it's safe downstairs.
The Herc tried to synthesize the enzyme they needed for cognition, but failed.
So that was Terminal 2 accessed. It seems the Herc's insanity was a gradual process, within one cycle, but quickly enough that they lost their minds before they could find an alternative. Finally, we stumble upon a new chamber, with an injured crewman here. Pevereau? Ah, yes, of course, when I died earlier it must have shuffled everyone around. We aid our injured crewman, and then the hunter strikes again. But this time we dive into the nearest grav lift and simply wait it out.
It moved away from you and shrouded itself.
Send your officer to me so that I can address any injuries.
Pevereau decides to chance it and make his way back to Bashir and Garak. Godspeed, Potato Man. Well, while we're in this grav lift, we might as well ascend to see what lies at the top of this one. Maybe we can find that last crewman. Well, there appears to be an interface console up here, which means this probably is a corridor, not a maintenance tube or anything. Left or right? Heading right, we can see what does indeed appear to be a body. However, we have seen the large mutant Hur'q in these corridors, and I'm wary of travelling too far without exploring every direction first, although it seems relatively safe, and we did just encounter it on the lower floor. But this is its lair. I don't know how quickly it can make its way back up here. Taking the chance, we scan the body to find it is game over for Williams. Also up here is the third console.
My god. The enzyme the Herc need is a precursor to ketracel.
Well, that was just plain unfair. For thoroughness, I retrace my steps and explore what is left of the accessible vessel to find that the blockage we encountered earlier can be traversed from the far side to bring us back to the beginning of the lift, completing the circuit. I enjoy it when the game attempts to do something different, such as this, but STO can create tense environments, but its engine doesn't do the horror justice. Nevertheless, this mission is one that I found far more entertaining, for its playing on horror tropes and the atmosphere that it does set up earlier, even if it is a bit janky. We return back to the control room to find all of our crew assembled.
Nicely done. We should be able to translate Herc data files and run a detailed analysis of them at a greatly accelerated rate now. I have a good friend in Starfleet engineering that would love to spend some time with this technology. The Herc have made some remarkable advances in their time. Ah, the first results are in. Excellent. I have access to a few critical systems, including gravity and power generation, bringing them online now. That should make things go a little smoother.
One step closer to transporters.
I'm getting some historical records now. Give me a moment to process it. Well, this is not good. It's a record of the fall of the Herc civilization at the hands of the Dominion. For some reason, the Dominion removed the fungus from the ecosystem during the Herc hibernation cycle. Military conquest, most likely. This is what drove the Herc to madness.
It appears we have some uninvited guests.
You're a long way from Zenketh, Admiral.
Yes. To what do we owe the pleasure?
Ah, traveling incognito?
One of her many covert identities, I suspect.
This expedition of yours has gone on long enough.
Touched a nerve, have we?
You found a secret I've kept for millennia. Something I've kept from Odo and the Great Link.
The origin of the Herc infestation.
And you're rolling it.
I needed soldiers to realize my dream of dominion. Enforcers willing to obey without question. Physically, the Herc were perfect candidates. But their peaceful, free-thinking nature was an obstacle. In studying the Herc biology, I found the key to their loyalty.
The ketracel precursor?
Yes, I extracted it from their ecosystem. They had no choice. Obey or die.
I take it things didn't go according to plan.
No, they became savage, incoherent, volatile. With each cycle, the swarm grew larger, wilder. My ability to control them diminished. All I could do was point them in the direction of my enemies. I would let them rampage, and await their eventual hibernation.
Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war.
They were a failure, but they provided a gift. Ketracel, the gift that led to a more successful endeavor. The Jem'Hadar.
I think I've heard enough. I knew you were involved in this somehow. You built an empire on slavery, and now it's all falling apart. When the Alliance learns about this...
But they won't. None of you are leaving this world alive.
You would kill another founder?
There were other founders who knew the truth once, like you. They did not want a dominion built on the backs of slaves. They tried to depose me, to expose the truth to the link. They failed, and paid for their lack of vision.
All of you, against the wall.
Odo, this is getting out of hand.
Stop this, now!
No, Odo. This is bigger than you. Bigger than us. The Dominion must endure.
I'm afraid I can't allow that.
What now?
You've forced my hand. This is a modification of your own Herc lure. As we speak, every Herc in the Quadrant is homing in on the signal.
And you're calling them here? To their homeworld?
On the contrary, madam. I'm calling them to the Founder homeworld. Your chickens, as the humans say, are coming home to roost.
Insanity! We will...
Okay, that's distracted her. Fortunately, Founders can heal from that. Oh. Founder. It instantly shrouds once more, and we regroup with eyes open. It reappears just on top of where we'd been with a devastating attack, but now we've restored the ship's systems and mitigated the interference, we now have complete access to our arsenals. The battle against this mutant Hur'q is far less one-sided now, and even the Jem'Hadar that beamed in join us in the fray to avenge their dead god. The Hur'q lashes out without tactics or care, just tanking everything we throw at it, acting completely on instinct and shrouding when it takes too much damage. But it can't hold back for long, and soon it just attacks again, driven by its insanity and ravenous hunger. With a final burst from a plasma grenade, the creature is felled.
I think that's our cue. Now that we have restored operations here, our ships will be able to lock onto us with transporters. I suggest we take advantage of this while we can.
You did this? All of you? You killed a god? My god? My beautiful founder. Gone forever. I loved her so. And now you'll pay the price. Guards!
Enough, Weyoun. All of you, stand down.
No! You betrayed her! And the Dominion! I will carry out her final order!
That founder is no more, Weyoun. This founder has given you an order, and you will obey.
No! He is no founder! She was a founder! He is a traitor! Guards! Shoot to kill! All of them!
Belay that order.
What?
We do not serve you, Vorta. Where this founder leads, we will follow.
Thank you, my friend.
Fine. Then I'll do it myself.
Take Weyoun into custody and return to your ship. We have business at the home world to attend to.
Tell me, was it part of your plan to draw every Herc in the sector to this system, Garak? Because if it was, it worked with flying colors. We need to get out of here and fast. Our only hope is to punch a hole through the swarm so we can go to warp.
Alright then, avoid flying too far into the masses and take them as they come. The piranhas are circling, and we can't let them bite. Best tactic here is to stick close to the other ships so that they can cover your rear while you can cover theirs.
Try to hold them off. I'll see if I can arrange a distraction.
Well, that's not a good sign. One of Garak's ships just flew straight into the swarm and was gutted. What did I just say about sticking close to one another? Garak, goddammit, whatever this distraction is you're planning, you better get it underway now.
They're breaking off.
They've received the signal. They're heading for the Founder homeworld.
Just like that, drawn by the signal, they flee.
I think we're in the clear. The Herc have departed for the Founder homeworld. It will take them some time to reach it, even at maximum warp. We should make the most of that time and bring an end to this madness. The information that the good doctor found should do just that. For now, let's return to our respective fleets and prepare for the next and hopefully final steps of this journey.
Yeah, you bought us time, but...
Thanks to Garak, my homeworld is under siege. I realize there's not a lot of love lost to the Founders these days, but if the center of the Dominion falls to the Herc, the rest of the galaxy will soon follow suit. If you're willing to stand with us one last time, assemble your forces and rendezvous with my fleet in the Gamma Quadrant. I hope to see you there before it's too late for all of us.
So the whole picture comes together now. Now we have time to reflect on our journey back to the Alpha Quadrant. The Dominion, thousands of years ago, took away the Ketracell precursor from the Herc, this mushroom food, to try to leverage them, but it drove them insane. So they then wrote them off as a lost cause, seeing fit only to aim them once every 1,000 years at troublesome planets. But now it's all come to light, and we've found how the Dominion aimed their loose cannon. Garak managed to get one of these signals somehow to the Founder's homeworld, and it's drawn all the Herc to it. And what's more, Odo truly had no part in any of this, unaware, as the Founder herself confessed. It's good to see him in a uniform of an officer of the law once again, instead of as a spokesman for the Dominion, and I wonder if his outfit was a conscious choice or a subconscious shift. Speaking of the Founder, she appears to have perished, those amplified waves from the Herc shattering her structure. But Odo's first noticed something, it seems. Questions for later, because for now, I doubt the Alliance will leave the Founders in the Dominion to stand alone against this threat. And it looks like we'll be ending it next time. So, thank you for watching this episode of the Star Trek Online Story series, as we bring a close to this Herc saga. I hope you'll join me for the next part as we continue to explore the ever-changing narrative of Star Trek Online. And until then, I've been Rick. Thanks again for watching, and goodbye.